Yes, guys, welcome back to the Max Talks Football FPL pod. I am joined today. He's on and off. You know, he comes on when he's had a good week. He goes off when he's had a bad week. But I'm joined by Kyron Lofthouse. Kyron, how are you?
I'm great. Honestly, I'm great. I don't know what happened last week or the one before, but yeah, I was a bit. I wasn't
Mm.
feeling great, but I've come back on today, and yeah,
And
good
why is it
good
a good
time to be
time to be
back. To be
back?
honest, I did break the 100
Wow.
100 point mark. Uh, first time this season, so probably won't be the
Really?
last.
Well,
I
there
doubt
will
it'll be
be.
the last. But we're in the
You need
series
that
about
momentum.
momentum
I'm
now.
still waiting for that springboard, as we'll come on to later. But I've made a solid start, but it just shows you've had a good week, which we'll talk about in a minute. You can really sprint and catapult yourself up the league. I've got the little Gameweek 6 recap. I know you love this one / hate it. The team of the week. However, the team of the week says a story this week because we've got 4 Newcastle players in there, and you jumped on one of them. The team of the week, we've got Leno in goal, and we've got Trippier, Tarkowski, Evans, Botman. Botman, Evans have all got 12 points. Trippier with 18 points. Unbelievable. We'll talk about him in a minute because you got him in. Well played. Mitoma, Son, 14 points. Bruno Gomares, 13. Saka, 13. And Morris, who's going to be talked about later this week because he's got a double game week coming up with 9 points. Looking at that team of the week, it kind of says it all, doesn't it? Huge result for Newcastle. What did you make of that game?
I mean, they was just.
Mm.
I felt for Sheffield United. I mean, they just got punished. Like that's the only way I would describe it. They needed that result as well. Newcastle, I think they needed a win. Um, First time I've probably heard or seen that their fans have kind of been
Mm.
not doubting Eddie Howe, but there's been a few murmurs about like his decision making and such. But yeah, they needed that, and
I know.
8-0 at away from home
It's the
is
first week
that's
after
insane.
they've had Champions League action in midweek as well. So it was the first opportunity to see whether they're going to rotate it. They played AC Milan in the week, drew 0-0. Weren't great by all accounts, but a 0-0 clean sheet, and then backing up with another clean sheet. But it was obviously the attackers that made the impact, but it was actually a lot of the assists and creativity and the goals came from the back line. As we can see from your team, 104 points, the average points of 68. That's a game week rank of 39,000, about 40 odd thousand for you. That is an exceptional week. I can't lie. I hate giving you credit, but it's an exceptional week. Tell us the story of your week. 2 transfers in, Hoyland and Trippier, but obviously Trippier takes the headlines.
I mean, do you want to go from where it started
Uh-huh.
off? I was in a bit of a rut, to be honest. I was sitting in around, I think I was around 20th in the league. It wasn't looking good. I had 2 transfers. I rolled them over, and yeah, I went for trips. You didn't like that.
No,
You
I
didn't
didn't say I
like
didn't
that
like
pick
it.
from me at all.
No,
You said it was boring.
I'm making a
You said
plan to get
boring.
Salah in, hopefully down the line, and I just 6.5 million on defender. Up until then, hadn't really produced. He's got obviously pedigree from last season. Look, I can't argue 3 assists. I just kept seeing the notifications pop up, and then you're chiming in assist, assist, assist. But yeah, a fantastic pick. I can't argue with it. And great fixtures going forward. You had Anana in goal, who finally done us a bit of justice. Got 7 points, and I think it's a return from 9 of your players out of the 11. We've got a Kanji, clean sheet, 5 points. Trippier, 18. Estepinian, 6. I think he got an assist. Son, 14. Saka, 13. Sterling, who may be one you keep an eye on with only 2. Chelsea looking terrible at the minute. You kept faith with Foden, who repaid you with 11. Matoma, 14. Hoyland, 2. And Haaland, 12. I mean, unbelievable week. Where does that leave you going forward? And yeah, I mean, you must be buzzing with that.
No, I am. I am. It was needed for me. People were starting to write me off already, which I said they shouldn't. They shouldn't. You just should not do that early on. But that's fired me back up there. A few performances I was impressed by. I
Yeah,
did and ah about Son, but I did keep with him. Um, and he did repay me in that game. And then obviously the Brighton boys,
yeah, he did. Go on,
which I did
tell.
say
Yeah.
to you about. They're going, they're going into these fixtures, and I back them to win the games. Like they're not going to to the tough fixtures anymore, and I'm looking at them like, oh, I might have to
Mm.
take them out. Like I'm leaving them in because I think they'll actually genuinely win. So, yeah, 104. Don't want to get too carried away.
Well,
Obviously,
bringing back,
it's still
yeah, bringing
early,
back to what you said
but
on
I do.
Brighton. You said, and you've been spot on so far. They'll win these tough games. They beat Newcastle 3-1, beat Man United away from home 3-1. Bournemouth 3-1. So they've actually gone 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. And then the next three fixtures are Villa away, Liverpool home, who you told me, obviously, you're a Liverpool fan. You see goals for Brighton there. And then City away. And then the fixtures get a lot easier after that. So, yeah, I've taken your advice, funnily enough, and just kind of riding the Estepinian fixtures, benching him possibly a couple of times. But with his attacking output, he's playing basically left wing. Do you think you might as well just play him for every game?
That's what I'm thinking right now. I think the only problem you've got is
Mm, yeah.
Europe being a factor. So obviously, that he's not going to play every game. So that's something to definitely look at, and when the fixtures aren't too kind. But I feel like um, the game, especially Liverpool City. I mean, obviously I'm a Liverpool
Mm.
fan, and we've started very well, but we are vulnerable in them defensive areas, and always struggle against Brighton as well. So that's not even a game I would think to take him.
They're one of the most
Unbiased
consistent teams in the league. Like, you know what you're going to
thinking,
get
put
from
him.
them. Yeah, obviously the City away is a
Yeah,
different kettle of fish, but Liverpool, you just mentioned there, Son goes to them next. I can see Son that being a reasonably high scoring game, both attacking teams. I assume he's not going anywhere in your team. He's scored a couple of braces, and I mean, when you jumped on him, not many people had him at all. I went for Madison. You've gone for Son, and he's really repaid that.
yeah. I think him playing up front is is that's a positive. I half thought that might happen just because Richarlison hasn't
Yeah.
really been scoring for a while now. So I did think that could happen. I wasn't like relying on that, but I mean, him and Madison have been. I think
Mm.
Madison's the key there, and I don't have him yet, but I honestly think he is the key. I know he picked up a little knock.
Yeah, so he's
I
got
think
he's
did he?
yellow flagged in my team, which we'll see
Apparently,
at the end of the show. But yeah, he had a little knee injury. Both Son and Madison actually come off. But yeah, it's not frustrating because Madison's so good. He's a player that I really like. He plays in a similar position that I love my players playing in, and he gets obviously both assists for Son, but Son gets more points because obviously scoring. But I just looked at the timing of Madison's pass for that last goal. Jorginho gets robbed, and it just looks like a simple pass goal, but he literally waits for Saliba, who's like umming and ahhing whether to go to the ball or stay off. He stays off, and then Saliba all of a sudden goes towards it. His body shape opens up, and Madison plays it at the perfect moment. Son has an easy finish. So, yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that knee injury. I think he'll be all right, but you never know. Sometimes you can get a knee injury in a game, and it feels a bit loose, and then the next day it's very stiff. But Son's been excellent. Now, he didn't repay. I mean, what a week! But imagine if he did, it would have been probably be one of the most high points player in the whole game. Hoyland, thoughts behind that signing? Fixtures coming up are Palace, Brentford at home. So, and he didn't play in the Capital One Cup or whatever they call it last night, EFL Cup. Thoughts behind that pick?
that
Because no
that's
one's got
kind
him.
of how would I put it? Yeah, I mean that's kind of a gamble, that pick. I mean, the strikers right now, I've even thought about going just one up front at the moment. I don't think you're spoiled for choices there. I don't think any of them are really overperforming. I think the fixtures are difficult for a lot of them. They've also got, Europe. There's a lot of rotation going on with that. It's kind of a gamble. I
Mm.
mean, Man United aren't playing great at all, to be honest. I mean, I even watched the Burnley game and I
No,
wasn't
they look like the
convinced at
more of
all.
the defensive team in
Um,
that game, getting behind the ball and
yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I feel like he showed little glimpses which I liked, especially when he came on against Arsenal. He showed a few glimpses. Um, yeah, let's
two
see.
home
Next
games. Yeah.
couple games, if he can do something, I thought the fixtures. Yeah, two home games. If he's going to get off the mark, I think he'll
Well,
be in them too. So, and I like to get rid of your mate.
yeah, Jackson. I think a
I
lot
think.
of people got rid of him, including myself. You're up to fourth in the league, 393 points, only 7 off top. That is mad. That just shows what 1 week does. An unbelievable week for you. First century of the season, 265 overall rank. Have you got an overall rank you're kind of aiming for this season, or are you more focused on winning the league?
Uh, yeah, just the league. To be honest, people are calling me empty house. That's what I've been called, saying I got no trophies in the cabinet in the house. It's empty. So I'm not. I can't keep that title. So yeah, just gonna look for the title. Overall rank. Do you know
It's
what?
good. I
I'm
always,
up there. I'm up there.
yeah. I think anything below
We'll
100k
take
is decent.
myself.
My team is on the screen now. 78, a pretty good week. It would have been a much better week. Those Newcastle assets very much killed me. And the key decision of the week was to leave Chilwell in and not go for Botman. I can't say that I would have gone for Trippier because, like I said, I'm trying to save a bit of money. But starting from the back, my goalie was the same. Anana, 7 points. Akanji, Estepinian, Chilwell. Akanji, 5. Estepinian, 6. Chilwell, 0. It just seems to be coming on, missing a chance and getting booked and getting me 0. So decision to be made there. Yeah, we'll come on to that. Bruno Fernandes with an unbelievable volley in that game. He can do that. I know you're not his biggest fan. 10 points. Saka 13. Everyone's got him. Madison 9. And there's that yellow flag on him. So I'll have to monitor that. I brought in Burmo in. I'm regretting it already. And yeah, if I look at this team, the two big decisions I made this week that backfired. I didn't go for Botman. Actually, maybe one wouldn't have happened with the other, but I took out Foden and put Alvarez in. That's a swing of about 10, 11 points. And yeah, I wanted to jump on double City attack in that aspect. And then I thought Mburmo's on pens and might be more settled for minutes and might outscore Foden, but not this week. A lot further down the league I am. We'll finish off Alvarez 1 point up front and Haaland 12. 19th. 365. How many? I'm 19th.
Right.
That's
Oh no,
365.
sorry,
Very
man.
tight at the minute. Very tight. Very early days. My consistent will come through. I don't forget, a lot of these guys went mad with their chips early, didn't they? So that's going to come into play. Yeah, disappointed with Alvarez. As I said, I took Foden out for Alvarez. He didn't come in. They have Wolves away next week. His minutes seem to be nailed. I'll have a look at what kind of team, but I imagine they'll switch up in the EFL Cup tonight. And yeah, I really like my team. It's solid. I look at all the midfielders; they're all gonna score goals. Bruno, Saka, and Mbeumo are on pens. Madison's the key of anything. It'll be interesting to see if he does miss the next game. I do have a decision. Will that just be a straight swap for the other Tottenham midfielder? But yeah, what do you think of this team? And where did it go wrong?
I don't listen. I don't mind the team at all. I
Hmm.
think the Foden to Alvarez, I was
Yeah,
never convinced about that. I feel like if you had
yeah.
one, I would just stick
Hmm.
with the one rather than changing. Uh, Everyone else, I mean, the chill. It was a decision I made. I took him
Why
out.
did you take him out?
I'm not convinced
along with a
by
lot of other people.
Chelsea. For one, when I watched the Chelsea Bournemouth game the week before, and I actually thought Mudryk was quite bright.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying he was outstanding, but probably one of the brightest I've seen him in a while. So I thought he might give him another go for one. And two, something's just not clicking there right now. And I've learned you got to just jump off these. It's a bit like, do you remember Liverpool last season, at the start of last season, when it weren't clicking? You kind of just like, it's just not clicking. You know how it's like in football. You know, it's just not going your way and it's just not going in. It's like, I think they need like a scrappy win to like, I don't think they're going to go and bat someone. I think they'll get a scrappy one and then they'll start finding their feet again. But it's not great right now.
I'm
What do you think about
seriously
what's going on?
disillusioned.
No, you're a
I'm
big
always
fan.
behind Pochettino. He's a good manager. I'd only swap him for De Zerbi, so we'd have to dip into Brighton again. But all the problems coming right from the top. You can't just go and sign young players on 8-year deals and hope they'll be good in the future. And yeah, they might be absolute world beaters in the future. But Chelsea back in the day with Mourinho and Abramovich money always base themselves on buying players now and winning titles now. And we've gone away from that. I think in the league, XG wise, I don't want to get carried away with XG stats, but we're fourth for shots. We should be fourth in the league for XG, expected goals and expected goals conceded. But football's played on grass, not on spreadsheets. So yeah, Chilwell. We'll get onto my team going forward later, but I just have other defenders I'll play ahead of him at the minute, so I still might not take him out. But like I said, when those Newcastle defender points were rolling in, yeah, it was killing my rank because that was the go-to move last week. Chilwell out to a Newcastle defender. But decisions to be made going forward. Bringing on to the weeks coming forward, we have a double game week this week. And normally we are on the phone discussing double game weeks and we're excited. It's not a very exciting one, is it?
It's not. It's Luton. Also, I see my voice even went when I said it. Yeah. I don't know. I can't see me jumping on that. I mean, I've got a Luton player on my bench, but yeah,
So
I
Burnley
can't
and Luton have
really
both got double
put him
game
in.
weeks.
To be
Newcastle and
honest,
Luton, Burnley have, and Luton have Everton and Burnley. So the next slide I've got at the minute for the podcast listeners are the fixtures between game week 7 and 11. And a lot of the content that's kind of going up on YouTube is kind of looking at a wild card maybe in week 9 because Liverpool's fixtures turn. Liverpool's game week fixtures from 9 are Everton, Forest, Luton, and beyond. Newcastle continue a decent run, although Arsenal is in game week 11. And Villa's kind of a team that people have been sleeping on a little bit. Obviously beat Chelsea, which I expected them to actually. I thought it would be a draw or a away win. And their fixtures kind of changed. They've got a few assets to be looking at. Their fixtures from 9 go West Ham, Luton, Forest. So I mean, are you looking to wildcard around this time? Or, I mean, we've kind of been spoiled in the last couple of years with COVID and things like that because we've had like 2 or 3 wildcards per season, or kind of 2 and then a couple of free hits. So, yeah, are you holding fire or what are your plans kind of longer term, maybe over the next 4 or 5 game weeks?
well, you made a good point when we spoke and said because of the fact that we have had extra ones in seasons gone by, and even the World Cup when you could change and do unlimited. I don't think people realise how long it is. Like, so I don't even know whether to go now because there is such a long time, and I think people will be surprised. Like even especially this year, how long it will actually be before. Because yeah, game week 10, there'll be another 20 odd weeks after that still. And you're like, I did look at doing it in game week 10, to be honest,
Yeah.
but I'm going to have to see how things are shaping up. Because I actually quite like my team right now, so I can't see me really needing to change it too much. It's like I would only
And
wildcard to get Salah
I
in,
think that's what everyone's
and it's
thoughts are,
like,
because he is 12 and a half. And if you've got a Son, and if you've got a Trippier, and you've got a Haaland, and kind of your Sakas and Matomas aren't really going to go anywhere because they're so good, a lot of people are thinking the only way to get Salah in is to wildcard. And the widest argument is strengthened because if you look at the bottom fixtures there, so we've got fixtures from 7 to 11 who have got the best, and we've mentioned it goes from Burnley have got the best, then Luton, then Villa, then Tottenham, then Liverpool. At the bottom, this is quite why it strengthens the wildcard argument, because you've got Brighton at the bottom. We've probably got two, Estepinian and Matoma. Everyone's kind of double or tripled up on Arsenal. They're next for worst fixtures from 7 to 11. And then City are next. Everyone's probably double, tripled up on them. So that's kind of the majority of most people's teams, which is why the tendency on Twitter and places like that, YouTube, is kind of that game week 9 wildcard. But yeah, it's important not to get too carried away, because injuries and things like that can happen, can't they? And just change your plans.
yeah. I would also say that I feel like in previous years I've kind of got carried away with fixtures. So you see an Arsenal or Brighton's fixtures or City's fixtures, like you need to understand that these teams, they're
Mm.
really going to win these games. Like all of them will be going to win these games. So I can't see them being, you get the odd one where, uh, you might not get a return. But I can't see, if say Brighton have got Liverpool City, I can't see Matoma and Estepinian not returning. Like I can see them easily returning. Maybe not like you won't get the clean sheet from a defender, but I think your midfielders and
Yeah.
attackers, you keep them. So I think that, you say you're doubled up. I think that only means really you got one player you might take out, and if he's got good attacking output like Estepinian, like why wouldn't you keep him anyway? Because if he gets an assist, like in the Bournemouth game, if he comes away with 6 points bonus, might as well have got a clean sheet.
Yeah. The thing that
So
I agree. I think that's a great
I'm
point. I
looking at it
think
like
the
that
thing
as
that
well.
may pull on your heartstrings if Liverpool beat Tottenham, beat Brighton, and then all of a sudden you see these fixtures and none of us have any of their players. Um, our favourite Darwin, if he can
Yeah.
nail down a spot, he can just kind of fill in that role that you've just put Hoyland into. Um, and then you kind of want to go all in on them because they've got such attacking players. Does Trent come back? That's a lot of money. Again, kind of going over old ground, but I think Liverpool would be the key to people's decisions to wildcard in 9, because those are the ones who've got the biggest turn in fixtures. Talking of fixtures, let's move on to game week 7. I'll just run through the fixtures now. The early kickoff is Villa, Brighton. Actually, no, you pick. Let's pick out some of the big ones. So Villa and Brighton. That's the early kickoff, 12:30. You'll be probably playing, won't you? So you might not be able to watch all of that. Go on, pick out a fixture which you think FPL wise is going to be big this week, or one that you're excited or looking at.
I'm definitely looking at the Newcastle
Yeah,
one off the back of that win. Uh, Also interested to see just the lineup. Now I've looked at some of their one of their players, and I didn't actually include him as a differential, but he'd definitely be like on par for me to look at moving forward. I just want to see
mm,
how they line up as well. That'll be interesting. I think obviously you got Liverpool, Tottenham. That'll be just a very good game in
yeah,
itself. Maybe not FPL wise, but I'm also interested in the Man United game because I do not because they're playing well, just because I want to see Hoyland and I want to see if
yeah.
they're gonna get
Rut.
out of this little kind of rut that they're in. There's a lot going on there, so I just want to see if they can get at home. I'm thinking yeah, it's going to tell. But good week, to be fair. Fixtures, I think it'll be good. I like the Villa Brighton
Yeah,
one. I
so
think that'll be a great
Newcastle
game
have
as
got
well. So
Burnley at home again. Screams clean sheet for me, which again may have to urge me to make a move there. Man United, Palace, you mentioned a good fixture again. They played last night, and a lot of complaints about how Palace made a lot of changes for that. Man United winning 3-0 easily, but they rested their big guns. Players like Mount come on, getting fitness. And they go and play each other again on Saturday. So players like Eze was rested. So it could be a completely different outlook on that game. You never know. The Spurs Liverpool one jumps off for me. I love these two teams. I think Klopp's got to take a lot of credit. He's managed to somehow get rid of loads of midfielders and get some young, hungry boys in, and they've got better. We've obviously been screaming out for years that midfield needs some transformation, but are they playing well or are they just winning games at the minute? Because I kind of underestimated them after they've made this. I think they've won 5 out of 6.
yeah, I feel like, and
Yeah,
even if you look at our record from the back end of last season coming in, our form is unbelievable. So I like the new look midfield. I think we are playing well. We are playing well. You can't say we're not playing well. We're winning all these games. Um, but there's still a lot of improvement which I like. I
mm.
really like Soberslai. I think he is unreal, like proper midfielder. Um, I don't know. I feel like there's just been a bit of a rejuvenation at Liverpool. Seem a bit. We got the energy back. We was
Yeah.
kind of looking like we was running out of legs last year, which is understandable. The players have been there a long time and they've done a lot. So, but yeah, I am looking forward to it. And Darwin, I'm hoping. I know you love him, but honestly, I think he can be a proper good nine.
Did again? I'm not going. I am having. I'm contradicting myself. You see the chance he missed, and then the chance he scored.
This is what I mean. If he
He's
could just,
volleyed one over his shoulder perfectly into the corner, and the one he missed before, he just like.
yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah,
can be frustrated, but I'm telling you, he's
yeah.
still young
Look,
as well.
if he nails down a spot there, he's going to be in my team. But I'm just going to be so angry with him. He killed me last season. Killed me. But I need to get in on that Liverpool attack with those fixtures coming around the corner. So it'll be interesting to see how they do Spurs. I love the way Spurs are playing and their manager. And yeah, a fixture we didn't mention, Bournemouth at home to Arsenal. And I mentioned that because I go on to my and your predictions for game week 7. My differential is Gabriel Jesus. Again, criticised. He's not ruthless. He's not the most clinical striker in the league. If we just throw it back to last week, my differential shout was Callum Wilson. I feel like again I've hit. I haven't missed yet for the differentials, but I should have had way more with an 8-0 win. He missed a couple of reasonable chances as well. And my flop of the week was Chilwell, which came in as well. Game week 7 predictions, I did mention, yeah. Jesus, what do you think about his clinicalness and how that Bournemouth Arsenal game might go?
It's a game I'm not sure about. I mean, I
Really?
know I've got Saka. Um, I think Arsenal will win that. Jesus, he's playing on the left. Like he's on the
Yeah,
wing.
true.
Like, I, he's not a winger. Like I've said it. Like when he was at City, like he's not like a. He needs to play up front, and I know Arteta like he does clearly trust in Keita, but there's a lot of like rotation going on in that Arsenal team, and that they're doing a lot of different things. I mean, they're still doing well. Don't get me wrong, like they're a proper team, but I see him out on the left, and I didn't like that. So I need
Nah,
to
yeah.
need to see a bit more from that. See what's going on there. To be honest,
Yeah, they've got Trossard and Martinelli injured, hence why he's been playing on the left, and they played with Eddie Eddie Nketiah down the middle, but a lot of fans saying they don't really. Is Eddie Nketiah like a top, like title challenging forward? He's probably a number 3 forward who'd have in the squad, but yeah, you've gone for so you got biggest point scorer Saka, differential shout Morris. Now he's going to be very popular this week. Talk me through that. Are you going to get him in?
No, but
No.
I'm not gonna get.
But
But I feel like if Luton, like these are two games that they've got to win one. Like that's what I'm thinking. Like, and they've got to be looking at that like 4 points. Like that has to be the aim, like minimum from these two games. If they got any chance, and if anyone's gonna score, it's him. So I feel like that might be the shout. I mean, I know a lot of people are gonna jump on it, but I feel it could be one. Do you remember? I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I remember it was Weghorst. He had like a double, and
love
I
that.
went that late
Do you
on.
remember the Watford one when there was Emmanuel Dennis and Josh King
Oh
up
yeah,
front?
everyone triple captain and Dennis and that, and he got sent out. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not making them mistakes again. I'm just not doing it.
nah. You've come off a very strong week. Again, talking about the Foden when I got rid of him and got Alvarez in, it's just an unnecessary transfer. So you could maximise it for 1 week, but then you've kind of he's 5.5 mil. If he was 4.5, it'd be a like kind of easy decision, but it may upset the balance of your team and you've just signed Hoyland. So yeah, Madison's on your watch list. I assume that wouldn't be a replacement for Son. It would be kind of a double up because their fixtures get quite nice soon. They've had their tough one against Arsenal, then Liverpool at home. And here we go. Luton away, Fulham home, Palace away, Chelsea home, Wolves away.
Yeah, on the Tottenham train.
Double up. Is it viable?
I think it is. I think even I'd like to add one of the defenders in there as well. Um,
Mm.
Also, I just want to say because I said there was someone else on my watch list who I forgot to mention,
Yeah.
and especially after Barnes getting injured, is Gordon.
Yeah.
From Newcastle. And what's he? I think he's 5.6 right now.
Something like that. And Barnes is injured.
Barnes just got. That's what I mean. Barnes just got injured, and
Yeah, it's a
he
great
seems
shot.
to be like he seems to just have like a I don't know. He seems settled now at Newcastle, playing well. He's playing very well. I've actually been watching him, and I'm thinking he's doing very well. So he's definitely on mine as well. Them two
I was
would.
a bit I was a bit disillusioned when Chelsea were interested. Remember when they're paying like 40, 50 million for him and it didn't go through? And I've started seeing the last couple of weeks, he's got that step over, push down the line, and his speed is
Yeah.
ridiculous. So yeah, again, I agree with that. I've been looking at him again. I'm waiting just to see how their team changes from Champions League um, to Premier League. But yeah, again, if you want to kind of get Salah in at 12.5, getting a 5.5 enabler in or 5.6, as you said, could be the way to do that. And we've both gone for Rashford as flop of the week. They could beat Palace, but I think Palace are a decent side. I don't think it'll be 3-0 like it was last night. So that is that. We have your team up. Nothing needs to be done really. I'll take you through it. Anana, Palace at home, but we've got a Kanji, Trippier, Saliba. I really like that. I really like that. And you've even got Estepinian on the bench. I love that because I think those three teams, Akanji City, Trippier Newcastle, Saliba Arsenal, were the best three defences in the league last season by far. So I like that. Son, Saka, Foden, Matoma, Sterling. Sterling and that stuttering Chelsea side, maybe you'll have to look at that. But Fulham away's a reasonable fixture. And then Hoyland and Haaland up front. And on the bench, you've got Turner, who plays Estepinian. You might start. You might have a decision there. Bell, who has a double for Luton. And Osula. This is a really strong team that doesn't need too much tinkering. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'm gonna roll the transfer. I reckon. I did think about taking
What happened
Sterling
to
out.
you, man? What happened to
Yeah,
you?
I know. I've changed, and you don't like it one bit. I've matured, but I thought about taking Sterling out, but no point because I mean it's a game where he could. do something, and I'd rather kind of have the two for next week. I have got a decision with Estepinian and Saliba. I think that's the one where I'm like, don't know what to do, because I feel like Villa away, definitely a tougher game, but as I said before, Brighton, I know they're going to win that. So, and I think they will win that game. So, yeah, decision to be made. But as it stands right now, I went Saliba, just kind of being solid. But yeah, nothing much I'm going to do. I think I'm just going to keep it and just go from there.
Will you move? I know it's not much deal. You've got a captain. I'm assuming Haaland. It's on Haaland here. Will you move that vice captaincy off Matoma to someone else? Probably Saka.
Yeah, probably Saka. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm looking ahead after this week. I'm not expecting the same week as last week, but definitely looking to free up some room for the Tottenham boys. Looking to get one in, and
Just
yeah.
just quickly, there are rumours on Twitter about Saka being injured. He's yellow flagged on my app right now. Are you aware of them rumours, and like, what do you make of them? I've not been abreast of them that much.
I think he's yellow flagged, so I'm gonna wait. But if you don't play, I've got
He
Estepinian
plays.
there, so
Yeah.
it's like, don't really need to do much.
Ah, dear. What happened to you, man? What happened to you? Looking good, mate. Looking very strong. My team, similar in some ways. I've got Anna in goal. Kanji, Saliba, Kabore. Kabore's got a double. I think you've convinced me. I don't think this is where I have a problem. I've got Chilwell and Estepin on the bench. I don't know. I just think if Chilwell plays, he can score, assist every game, but he's not playing. So I might put Estepinian on. I agree with you. He's got so many routes to points, not just clean sheets, which Brighton aren't even getting that many clean sheets. But he's playing left wing. Bruno Fernandes, I'm excited about that. Palace at home. Saka, Maddison, who's yellow flagged. Mitoma, and then Burmo. And Burmo, I was really excited about getting in. And now all of a sudden, he's got Forest away. Their defence is quite solid. They're coming off the back of a poor defeat to Everton, 3-1. And then he's got United away, Burnley home, Chelsea away. I don't know. I think I may have jumped on that too late. And as I've discussed, I should have probably just stuck with Foden and, rode it out. But yeah, happy with this team. Going forward, it's pretty strong. You've kind of mentioned it already. It's a good team, but I need that big week like you had to propel me up the league. Does that come in the form of a different captain? I don't think so. Haaland's a no-brainer this week for captaincy, isn't he? Wolves away.
Yeah, by the way, that's 2 weeks. I didn't captain Haaland, and he punished me again. This is what I mean. Like, it does my head in, because it's like I had players that would have been better captains. Maybe not on paper, but I could have even looked elsewhere. I probably would have looked more at like Matoma or someone like that. But when I don't captain Haaland, he just scores hat trick. Like, it's actually crazy. That's like 4 times I've done that, and he scored a hat trick. And I didn't even lose too much ground because I had Son.
No.
Like when he scored a hat trick, but I didn't captain him either. So it's like I'm just scared. Like, it's staying on him out of fear.
Well,
I don't.
last week, I went for Maddison captain. And watching those highlights, Haaland could have had 4.
Yeah.
And he could have put me out the race. He could have put me out the race. So yeah, I was happy to take the risk. And I saw Haaland getting 1 goal there. I just thought Maddison would get 2 or 3 returns against Sheffield United, but he didn't. But yeah, decision to make with Chilwell. Do I get rid of him? Again, look at this, so Lofty. If I got rid of Chilwell and got Botman or Trippier in, I'm pretty well set in defence already. But it's just the weight of the people who have Newcastle. If they do keep a clean sheet against Burnley, that's going to punish me big time. So decision to be made there. Mate, thank you for coming on. I'm sure it didn't take you much convincing because you had that banger of a week, 104 points. strong, and then you're gonna have 2 free transfers next week. It's looking very, very good.
Looking
Many
good.
many weeks to go in the rags to riches league. But thanks for coming on, and good luck next week.
Yeah, mate. Appreciate it.